Didn't realize my stream was still had this whole Friday Wednesday. What is is me myself? Okay, yeah, I didn't realize I still had the same setup from Wednesday. I thought I fixed that. Well, I can see easily a bit of that, bit of this. Yeah, I think it's a little bit bigger. All right, there we go. All right, hello everyone. It's Rayos the Hermit, broadcasting live from my Hermit Cove on a cloudy, somewhat chilly Friday morning. But yeah, how we doing, everyone? Got a bit of news. Yep. Yeah, so yeah, on Wednesday I did do a little thing with some content creators in the Hunting Girlfriend community, which is why my setup was a little different than usual for a second there. But yeah, we individually named 100 women, and yeah, you can see the title here. We streamed it on our own, on all of our channels. You know, you can check out. We had the chaos. We had the Chaos Square, the vaunted Moonlight 150. You know, Kemi Amber, who does live translations of the manga every week, and on the Girlfriend's Corner, who also does lots of little fun variety content regarding the series. But yeah, I did forget to turn my mic on for like the first 10 minutes, so all you hear is everyone else talking. But yeah, I got that fixed by about by about the first 10 minutes. Yeah. So yeah, other than that, the stream turned out well, and yeah. Also, due to my not so tragically losing my job, I've been on something of a tear recently. Just drawn up a storm over on the Patreon. Yeah, so if you're into either the Day Live or 100 Girlfriends fandoms, and you are of age, consider having getting a little free membership. And you can see what works in progress I'm doing. You see weekly recaps and whatnot. You get to see what you might you just try it out before you buy, sort of thing. So you don't have to invest any money, but if you do want to, it's just like $5 a month for the basics. You can do $10 a month if you want like time lapses and PDF files, or no wait, Photoshop files. That's like PSD files. Yeah, that's it for the news. I'm expecting we're going to get through 2 videos today, as we'll see, depending on how talkative I am. But yeah. All right, so for our first video, we're looking at Neurotypical People Are Not Okay by Luke Kono. And yeah, I'm reading that title, I'm reminded of the evergreen quote that the straights are not okay, which it seems to be a common pattern with any like I don't know what you call it, like any dominant part of a dominant minority structure. Like like in the man-woman hierarchy, men are clearly not okay. Like have you seen the Reddit and Twitter posts about men not wiping their asses because they think it's gay or some other goofy shit like that? Like, yeah, I definitely noticed a name phenomenon where the dominant group ironically ends up with just as many, if not more, restrictions placed on their thoughts and behaviors as their like subservient counterpart. Often just in order to maintain and justify the hierarchy. But yeah, it does end up being kind of weird because in the common sort of public thought about this sort of thing, we don't really tend to think, or we tend to think mostly about minority groups' plight and the unfair rules placed on them, but oftentimes it is also the case that the higher status group in these unjust hierarchies often also have to play a very restricted role to maintain it, which also what ends up making them just as well. Okay, I shouldn't say just as, but like I said, they ironically end up with way less freedom than even they themselves would be led to believe. But yeah, so I guess we're gonna be seeing this in the context of neurotypical versus neuroatypical, which is definitely been getting a little more play in the public consciousness since recent events in the at least in America regarding like what's the word, like defining Tylenol as like a freaking cause of autism nonsense. And also, cute dog. Oh, okay.
A few weeks ago, by the time you're seeing this video, I posted a video going through the Are the Straights and Are the Cis
Okay
subreddits.
right
There's
there, right
one more
there.
subreddit I haven't gone
Just
through.
like I said.
In that same vein, are the blank okay? And that subreddit is Are the Neurotypicals okay? There's a lot of prefaces I have to get before I get into this video. First of all, if you don't know what neurotypical means, neurotypical is the opposite of neurodivergent. These are two relatively newer, more modern terms to describe people who have the neurodivergent are people who have like developmental disabilities or who have, disorders like OCD, like ADHD. Neurodivergent is basically anyone who doesn't have like a disability or disorder like that. That's literally it. Now that we've got that out of the way, there's one more preface I have to give for this. I am not diagnosed with anything like autism or OCD, okay? Now, I do have diagnosed anxiety and depression, but that's neither here nor there. For a long time, I've always felt different than everyone. I've had a lot of experiences that have made me, the past couple of years, categorize myself as someone who's most likely, probably definitely on the spectrum. And
yeah, I did forget to mention I've never been diagnosed or anything, but at least as a kid, I had a lot of these sort of classic, like physical symptoms of autism. I mean, I did the freaking autistic toe walking thing like it was my like full-time job, and I was the pickiest eater out there, and plenty of other things that I don't remember off the top of my head. But almost every time I look up a real comprehensive like I guess diagnoses or whatever of autism, and like I do definitely relate to a lot of things, especially as you go further back to like childhood sort of things. I think unintentionally, a lot of the trauma that a lot of neuroatypical people face as a result of not being neurotypical has gotten kind of lumped into some of the diagnostic criteria of autism, especially once you go out of the realm of clinical practice and go more towards like I don't know what you would call it, the online diaspora of like sort of not necessarily just self-diagnosed people, but the sort of online community of neurodivergent people. They do seem to have accidentally included a lot of just family trauma as part of the criteria for being autistic or ADHD or other neurodivergencies. But yeah, anyway.
A lot of experiences that have also placed me in the diagnoses requirements for OCD throughout my life. And as I've learned more about both of these things, I've realized that those are both diagnoses that likely apply to me. I'm not going to get into all the fucking personal shit, but essentially what happened was last October, I had like a evaluation for autism, and it was a very bad experience for me. What ended up happening was the report that psychologist that I saw gave me, I could tell that she was not very well versed in diagnosing people with like me specifically. She misgendered me in the whole thing. She didn't call me a she or something, but she called me they, even though I've never in my life gone by they them, and I never will. Yet she still called me that. And I look normal on this day too. I was dressed in normal clothes. I didn't even look like I did look now. Even if I look like I look now, that's not an excuse to misgender someone. Okay, I don't know what people think that they're like. I don't know. This is a whole other topic, but people think they're like being nicer by calling everyone they. But for a lot of people, it's actually really upsetting to get called they when you're like a he or a she. Okay, but that's a whole other topic. So that was one thing, and then the rest of it, just I read it and it was just like, this doesn't sound like me at all. And it was very, I don't know, it made me disassociate. When you feel so strongly about something about yourself and you know that you suffer with things, or your brain works differently, or you go through things that the average person does not go through, like you experience anxiety, sadness, burnout, whatever, on a completely, or sensory stimulation, whatever, on a completely different level playing, it's not a level playing field, on a completely different fucking football field than everyone else. They're over there fucking playing the game, and then you're over here on by your fucking self playing the game on your own. You're trying to be fucking the goalie, the kicker, the fucking quarterback, the fucking wide receiver, the fucking tight end, all at once, okay? That's a game I'm fucking playing. And then to get told by someone, just from a 2-hour conversation you have with them, actually, there's nothing actually about you that makes your life harder. You're just anxious. It was really upsetting. So, no, I have not been formally diagnosed with anything. No, I do not care if you think that that makes me lesser than or an attention seeker or whatever. Let me tell you right now, and this is the only time I'm ever going, this is the last thing I'm going to say about this before we actually get into the video. If you lived a day in my head, you would be thinking the exact same thing I am. Okay? You would be a little worried too. And I've had to live in this head for over 2 decades. So you'd think I know myself pretty well, and I do. So you can fuck. So with all that being said, yes.
I mean, yeah, there are. I mean, yeah, I've never gone for any formal diagnosis, so I don't know how. I don't personally know how shit a lot of like clinicians and diagnosticians are, but I've definitely heard that more often than not, it's like this. It's like her experience is like you're lucky if you find someone who has like decent, just decent like fucking bedside manner, but also a decent understanding of any neuroatypicality. Because a lot of people, even the supposed professionals, have very stereotypical, very set in their ways ideas about how these things work. But yeah, I'm not super surprised to hear her story. To hear that her experience was like rough AF. But yeah.
I am going to be looking at this subreddit. This subreddit is the same as Are the Straights Okay? Are the Cis Okay? It's the same concept. It's neurotypical people who don't understand autism specifically, who don't understand ADHD or whatever, who don't understand being neurodivergent. And it's like, hey, are they okay? Because this is fucking insane. Everything causes autism.
I mean, now, to be fair, some of the neuroatypicality thing is a little bit different in the sense that, I mean, because of the aforementioned being really crappy at diagnosing people, I'm sure there are plenty of so-called neurotypicals who are just really well-functioning neuroatypicals. But I guess we'll see if there's any examples of that here.
Nowadays, I'm not gonna say that, but there's
to be fair, it's probably not dissimilar to some of the what's happening in the Are the Straights Okay and Are the Cis People Okay. Like, there's some of those people are not as straight or as cis as they would like to believe, and that cognitive dissonance is partially what's causing the friction for these people.
Everything causes autism nowadays. I'm not gonna say that, but there's something I happened to me when I was a child.
Was it
Let's move
Tylenol?
on. Our first post. This was tweeted by the @rightwingcope Twitter account, which I was very well versed with until I deleted my Twitter. Thank fucking God. Life after that was like, I'm finally fucking seeing colors for the first time. It was like when Logan Paul put on those fucking colorblind glasses. I was like, oh my God. It was insane. And then I finally deleted my account, and I feel so free. Hey,
I also have a friend who did the same thing, and they They've said similar things. I mean, I've always been pretty good about keeping my social media kind of free of anger-inducing stuff, so I don't tend to relate to I guess these experiences. Every so often, like the algorithm gets tweaked, and I have to like spend a few days getting things back to how I like them. But so far, I've always been able to do that. Mostly, I mean, my Twitter is basically just art and me reposting art. Same with Blue Sky, and uh, I think it's it. That's really the only. Well, yeah, I do use Reddit, but it's similar, I guess. Where I mostly just stay to my preferred subreddits. I don't really unless I'm looking up some information and I'm purposely including Reddit in there so I don't have to rather so I can get hopefully quality information and expertise. Yeah, normally my social media experience is pretty okay.
Target, are you okay with people selling books that deny the existence of ADHD on your website? To answer that, yes, they are. The book is very to the point. It's titled ADHD Does Not Exist. Millions of other people would argue otherwise, but let's read a review that someone left on this. Philip says, "Great family read. My son, 15, says he has ADHD, and also his liberal doctor. First off, he is just like any other kid and does not have ADHD. I stopped getting him the pills that control him. He complains to me, and so does his doctor. But as long as he's in my house and he's my property, so no ADHD medication. Overall, a great read and helps show you the truth."
Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about when I was saying that, at least in online communities, a lot of like a lot of the sort of folk diagnostic signs of these neuro divergencies, they accidentally include family trauma, like fucking like growing up with a parent who not only implicitly behaves like he thinks his kid is probably, but like explicitly says it like this. If they're writing it out like this and they clearly like think it in their head, like, yeah, okay, my child is my property. So like, obviously if you're growing up with someone like that, you're gonna, you're gonna get trauma. Like there's no way to grow up around someone like this and not be abused, basically. And a lot of people, I guess just because our culture is just very, it promotes abusive parenting and abusive households. A lot of people end up growing up in abusive households, whether you're neurodivergent or neurotypical. So it ends up being that like a lot of these folk diagnostic criteria, these folk understandings of neurodivergencies end up being kind of contaminated with just the really just complex PTSD.
Not the only problem, but the main problem
yeah, definitely. There's a lot of problems
he's
here.
In my house, he's my property. There's been a lot of debate online for a long time that children are one of the most marginalized groups that we never really talk about, and that just further proves this point.
Yeah.
I mean, really think about it. Children have literally no agency, and then they have parents who actually think that they own them, that their children are not individual human beings. Sure, they can't go to college yet, can't join the military yet. They're not of legal age yet to have sexual intercourse legally with a 50-year-old man. Okay, sure, but they're still people. They still have brains that work, especially when they're teenagers. Well, at any age,
when you're
especially
15,
when they're teenagers and they become more actualized human beings, they do have a mind of their own. And I guess this kid's mind has ADHD, and well, I feel sorry for him. One time, my school did an autism simulation. This reminds me, there's this video on YouTube. I don't know when I watched it. I don't know why I watched it. But it's called like an autism simulation. And I can't even remember what happened in it. You know what? Let's watch it right now. I don't know. I literally feel like me can't remember.
I don't. I guess. I guess you could simulate it, but like a lot of. While it does have, obviously, it has impacts on your sensory experience of the world. Most of the real impacts are more like they're more like post-sensory, I guess. I don't know.
but all I remember was like it was really bright and colorful. What about colorblind autistic people, guys?
Yeah.
Anyway, it was really bright, and there was like everything was warped, and it was like pearlescent everything for some reason. But then everything was loud and annoying, and it's like, well, yeah, most things are loud and annoying, to be honest. Okay, let's look it up. Autism simulation. Autism simulator video. Autism simulator game. Oh my god. Okay, I'm not screen recording this either. You can fuck right off. I don't care. Can you make it to the end? What? What does that mean? Okay, I have to screen record this. This is insane. The National Autistic Society post. Can you make it to the end? Make it stop.
Okay. Yeah.
What is? Oh my god.
Oh yeah. This is another real common thing. If you have any, like, even the most minor familiarity with the autism community, like a lot of the big mainstream autistic associations and societies are just, well, I mean, frankly, they are abusive. They have no interest in actually, how to phrase it, like, like working with, well, specifically autistic children, since it's almost always children. They don't really, a lot of these societies don't really seem to understand or believe in the existence of autistic adults. But a lot of their main focus is on, I mean, really, for lack of a better word, just kind of removing the autism from the child, as if that's a thing you can do. Like I mean, if you meet like an autistic person, like all you have to do is say like ABA therapy and just watch them like shudder and cringe, just because like they're it's the stuff they do in that so-called therapy is just abusive. I'm not speaking from experience. This is just stuff that I've heard over the years from many different autistic people who had to suffer through that shit as like young children. I mean, it's insane just how like just how fucked up it is in a lot of these big autistic organizations. They're not run by autistic people. They're not run for autistic people. They're pretty much just run for the adults of autistic children who are really just embarrassed or like, yeah, embarrassed by their children and just want to, they want to make it stop. They don't really care about, I mean, obviously they'll claim that they care about the good of their child, but their actions and oftentimes even their words kind of betray their real thoughts. But yeah.
Party, a virtual experience of autism. I don't know. Things like this are crazy because like there's no like way that it's like for everyone. Obviously,
yes.
Everyone processes things differently.
Like, okay, like, how are you depicting like the extreme, like, focus, whatever, where you're just, I mean, I guess you could, you could have like the person look at a clock, look at a clock at the start of the scene, and they, they say open up a Wikipedia page and start checking out some articles here and there, and then they check the clock and it's like 3 hours later, and like, oh, where all the time go? Why am I so hungry? Why am I so tired? I mean, maybe there are ways to do it, but it would require like an honest and authentic understanding of the experiences of autistic people, which I have no faith these videos are going to demonstrate. Actually, how old were they? Like, 6 years ago? I mean, 6 years ago, I'm not sure how much the establishments, like, understanding of autism has changed in 6 years, but I mean, I don't. I mean, I feel like even nowadays it wouldn't be much better, but yeah, back in like 20, I guess 18, I don't expect it to be real great.
This is just crazy. I don't recognize any of these. I think the one I watched was likely this one. Can you make it to the end? So let's check this out.
Yeah, it's automatically a child, which, I mean, fair children. I mean, fair children, they I don't know. I would say something like they need more help, but I mean, like, an autistic adult especially who has higher needs, is not. I mean, well, as the name suggests, they have higher needs, but
The little blinks are a nice added touch. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is like fucking triggering me. Okay, wait.
wait, they make the eye
the
move.
Dark Knight Joker. What? Okay, wait.
Yeah, okay, they did.
the Dark Knight Joker. What?
I mean, is that? I mean, I guess that might be, unless they're just trying to depict the active imagination of a child, but then that's not autistic. Though I mean, I guess it could be that, you know, a normal active imagination interacting with autism, but I don't know. That's the thing is, I don't have enough trust in something like this to give it that kind of benefit of the doubt.
What does that mean?
Honestly, I feel like this is, again, this is a very specific kind of externally focused autism. Like, what if you're someone who has like who's living more of in your own internal, you know, imaginary land world, you know, like you're focusing, because I did mention, I mentioned I'm probably autistic, but I mean, as a kid, I don't remember exactly my experiences, but I was definitely a lot more in my own head about things. I mean, I was very willing and capable to just ignore the outside world to focus on what I was interested in, which obviously, you know, that has its own problems when you're moving around in the world and then you're not really paying attention, you know, tripping over, bumping into things a lot. Yeah, I guess they made a series of these videos and they could cover the gamut of autistic experience. Yeah, black person jump scare. Yeah, you could cover the gamut of experiences. But yeah, oh god, yeah, stuff like, okay, that's something I do relate to, even to some extent to this day, being very sensitive to smells and just having random smells be kind of like vomit inducing, even though there's nothing, like even nothing about the smell itself is like gross or anything. It's some element of it just happens to like. It just happens to be connected to the vomit, like nerve ending or something. And not fun when that happens, but yeah, because of that, I got very good at holding my breath. That's all I'll say. Okay, showing a particular kind of coping mechanism.
Jeez, I wish my mom was fucking that supportive.
Right. Is a panic attack? I mean, well, it's a meltdown.
Okay, this is like actually making me upset, so I'm gonna turn that off. I don't think that was the one I watched, but that one was genuinely distressing. Anyway, let's move on from that. Let's finish reading this text message. They had us write down the lyrics to Mary Had a Little Lamb while singing the ABCs, and they flickered all the lights and were like, that's what it's like to be autistic.
Oh my god, no it isn't.
I don't think things like that are a good thing pretty much overall, because like I said, everyone processes things differently. Everyone's different. Not necessarily everyone's like bothered by every noise and every sound and every light or whatever, you know what I mean? But some of you are still watching this, you're like, you're not actually autistic. You're not diagnosed yourself, you don't know what you're talking about. That is what my brain feels like, though. If there's too much stuff going on, it does feel like I'm in class, someone's singing the ABCs, I'm trying to write down Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Yeah, I actually did have a similar experience with that. Just this Wednesday, me and the stream watchers they'll be aware of this, but you know, for the people who watch this as a standalone video, this last Wednesday, or I guess when this video comes out, it might be, well, whatever. It was the 4th, whatever. We and some other, like, we and the 100 Girlfriends content creation community, we did like a thing where each of us were individually naming 100 women on a spreadsheet, and it was being able to hear the other people, the other contestants, I guess, their voices as they were trying to like jog their own memories and remind themselves of like different women or different categories, like celebrities versus YouTubers, whatever. I mean, it did. Even though I wasn't like distressed by it or anything. I was like quote unquote ignoring it well enough. I definitely saw my like freaking cognitive capacity like drop like precipitously. I like literally right after the hour after it was over, I was like able to remember so many names that I had been planning to like say or should have easily been able to remember. Like I forgot like the entirety of a Hololive Indonesia existed, which I was going to use which if I remembered, I could have had like 9 names right there, but because there was enough sensory stimulation going on that I had to put the effort to ignore going, I just didn't have, I guess, the CPU capacity left over to like remember something like that. I mean, I remember there were several different times where I was just sort of sitting at the keyboard going like, just trying to scour the memory banks, and it's not that I wasn't coming up with results. It's more like I couldn't get my brain to do the search in the first place. So I mean, I do relate. Like, I can understand. I don't know, like a noisy, busy environment does have an effect on me, even if I've more or less sort of I've dealt with it in a way that doesn't cause me distress. It still definitely impacts my cognitive abilities. Though to be fair, I don't know. I can't speak for the neurostatuses of my other contestants, but I mean, I think they're probably also being affected by everyone else chatting and talking and trying to be funny and entertaining on streams. I mean, I don't know. It's depending on their, whether they're neurotypicals or neuroatypicals, we could I guess invalidate that little. Like it might not be related to autism at all. It might just be everyone. I mean, presumably everyone has experiences some impact when they are in a noisy, distracting environment, because you have to, regardless of your neurotypicality status, you will have to put some mental energy into ignoring irrelevant information.
Some guys in the corner saying, "He puts the lotion on or else it gets the hose again," and then there's like, what else? The lights are flickering all the time. That is kind of what it feels like. It just, what it feels like.
I mean,
is
definitely. I mean, there are some autistic people who are sensitive to that, who like they can literally kind of perceive the flicker rate of a lot of industrial or commercial lighting. So I mean, I imagine for them that would be hella annoying. I mean, lucky for me, I don't have that problem. My eyes are not that good. I don't have that kind of frame rate for my eyeballs.
There's no way to simulate it. I guess that video maybe is kind of a good representation, but it's not an accurate representation of fucking everyone everywhere. Obviously, that's a downside, obviously. It does feel like, it's just like you notice everything. When I go to Walmart, right, which Walmart is significantly louder than like my local grocery store. There's just too much stuff going on in there. Like, I'll go to the self-checkout. Everyone's checking out at the same time. The line, there's like 5 people in line. I'm like rushing to the self-checkout. I black out. I'm dead ass serious. I black out. I leave Walmart. I put my groceries in my car. I'm driving away, and I could not tell you what happened while I was checking out. Like, I'm so serious. It's like my brain just actually shuts off, and I'm just like checking everything out because there's too much stuff going on. I cannot actually process it in this situation. And then I walk out and I'm like, this is crazy. Next one's crazy. I gotta zoom in on this because this is so crazy. This is Chris. He is a professionally diagnosed autistic. Oh my lord. This is Chris. He's a professional autistic. Chris has like severe Stockholm syndrome. He says, "I just want to live my life like everyone else."
Okay, well, it's...
Chris has like severe Stockholm syndrome. He says, "I just want to..."
when I saw this, I was wondering, because depending on who made this, it could go one of two ways. Like, if it's, it was made by someone who is is in the autistic community, and is kind of just poking fun at some of the you know silliness that can happen. I mean, yeah, because I haven't said directly, but I did kind of like allude to the online diagnostic crowd. They have their issues, I guess. Though obviously nothing compared to the world of official diagnoses. But like, where was I going with that? I don't know. Something about the difference between an in-group making fun of themselves and an out-group making fun of themselves. I was wondering, and I can't tell from this. I mean, because I just want to live like everyone else. That's a very commonly, what's the word, like contentious point. Like even just in like say like the deaf community, where it's like, did you get hearing aids, or not? And like that's a big sticking point, for people, especially people, because there's a whole deaf culture for various reasons. It doesn't exist in a. I don't think that I know of. It doesn't have an analogous counterpart in like the blind community. Like there's not really a blind community as is, and that's mostly because of the way being deaf kind of linguistically isolates you from the broad population, whereas being blind does not do that. So it ends up because of the way language is heavily influenced by and influences culture, and ends up with a whole deaf culture existing. But there's a less extreme, I guess, version going on with the autism community. But I'll let this play a little bit more so I can have a more
my life like everyone
informed
else.
take.
I do too, but I can't. So this is Xylee. This is like the anti-Kylie Jenner. They are a self-diagnosed autistic who wants to feel special and be different. And that's why I self-diagnose myself, is I want to feel special. Actually, it's because I've always felt different and people purposefully ostracized me my entire life. And then I found a label that I actually fit in, and it made me feel like I actually had a place to fit in for once. And then I go to the doctor and they tell me that that's not actually true. A little traumatizing. Let's move on.
Yeah, I think that's always been the big difference, I guess, for me versus a lot of the online autistic crowd. Because I guess I was lucky. I didn't really grow up in a super abusive home. I mean, obviously they had their problems. They weren't. My parents were human. They weren't perfect, but I mean, like, I don't remember my dad ever really acting like I was his property, for example. I mean, he had strict 1950s parenting styles, but he was, at the end of the day, he did see me and my brother as human beings, and was very very happy to let us be ourselves and whatnot. And he would say so, and even in situations where like we presumably couldn't hear. So I never had to deal with that issue of feeling ostracized or like or alone, or whatever. And even if I had, I was not the type of person who would have cared about that sort of thing. I was always was, and I guess still am, very hermit coded, as it were. And I was very, very happy to do my own thing, be left alone. When I was younger, I was definitely more outgoing and energetic. But and then life happened, and I became more skittish, I guess. But basically what I'm saying is I don't, that when I was saying earlier that a lot of family abuse gets lumped in, like a lot of the effects of family abuse gets lumped into the online community's diagnostic criteria of neurotypicality. That's part of what I was talking about, like those things, those insecurities, those feelings of being different, alien, and then finally find your community. That's not really a part of neurotypicality. It's just because we have a very, very traumatizing culture, really, and you either find decent coping mechanisms, I guess like I did, that protect you from feeling or even just being ostracized. Because I mean, I was very much a voluntary loner. I don't think I was ever. I don't think there's ever a point in my life where I was ostracized, and if there was, I didn't know because I did not care. So I tend not to relate at all to those aspects of online neuroatypicality.
Well, let's just look at what Xylee has blue hair. Xylie's got
Yeah,
a
very
choker
stereotypical.
on. Xylee probably hooks a little chain onto that choker and does doggy play. That's how freaky Xylee is. She's fucking
Wait,
freaky.
what was that image?
Hooks a little chain onto that choker and does doggy play.
Oh, okay, yeah,
That's
donkey.
how freaky Xylee is. She's fucking freaky and weird.
Yeah, freaked
She's
out
probably
donkey.
Asexual too. What does that even mean? I don't know. She says ooh woo. So she's a fucking what's it called? Weeaboo too.
Yeah.
Functioning labels are ableist. I personally wouldn't consider them ableist. I think they can be a little. They cannot accurately represent a one person's singular experience. They can
And
be helpful.
That's why nowadays I tend to use high needs versus low needs. Though I have heard criticism of even that terminology, but so I guess you can't win for losing. Can't please everyone.
Situations, right? If you're looking for treatment of someone, it could be helpful to know that this person needs significantly more support than another person. Okay, that can be helpful. Nothing wrong with acknowledging that someone needs more help than you. But I can come to a point where people who don't require a lot of support don't get any support. That's like the problem, right? It's like, well, you mask really well. You usually you seem like you function really well in day-to-day life. You don't need any help at all because you hide it well enough that it doesn't really matter. It's like people who hide their depression really well. You don't think that one day they're going to kill themselves. And then, you get Robin Williams. It's like, what happened? Just because you hide something well doesn't mean that you don't need help. By the way, I once read on Twitter once, some woman posted that she had sex with a guy once, and he was having sex with her inner thigh. Like the space between her inner thigh and her actual vulva. And I read that and I'm like...
Intercrural?
Asperger's is a slur. Self-diagnosis, it's valid. You realize that people get like less support if they self-diagnose, right? They don't, if they're not actually professionally diagnosed, they will receive less support because they don't have an actual diagnosis.
Yep.
Functioning levels are rooted in ableism. Okay, you already said that. The DMS-5's ableist and the psychiatrists that made it are all white supremacists. It might be true. I mean, a lot of it is.
I mean, yeah, I think they were, but it kind of doesn't. What's your point? Are they wrong?
White focused. That's a real thing that has happened. Is they really only diagnosed cisgender heterosexual white men for a long time. I don't know if they were all white supremacists, but it's a possibility. Maybe instead of having someone say something that you don't understand or agree with, you hear them out first before being a fucking asshole. OMG, please don't say the R slur around me. I am literally shaking right now. What's wrong with that one? This is why I said that Chris has Stockholm Syndrome. Yeah, you can see the R word around me. Right? He's black. He's probably like, yeah, I'll give you the N-word pass too. What's next? He's gay? Chris is dressed normal.
Man really likes that meme, huh?
People clothes. This is a long story. It totally fucking unrelated to this video, but when do I not do that? I don't know if I've ever told this story. I do own guns. I go hunting. I'm not gonna say I like guns. I'm not a gun person. I wouldn't even call it a hobby of mine. It's a thing that I want to know how to do and do it well so that worst comes to worst, I gotta hunt my own food. I can actually do it. It's something that I care about, but I'm not a gun person. I wouldn't even, like, I have like a top 5 list of personality traits about me or like hobbies. It wouldn't even reach the top 10, I don't think.
Yeah, having knowing how to use a gun is something I've always, especially nowadays, I've always considered, but I don't know, I never get around. I guess I'm hoping in the apocalypse scenario the nice gun owners will take care of people like us, like me.
I went into one of my local gun stores. I wanted to ask them about their bulk ammunition for my shotgun. Long story short, the way that people, and this is an experience I've had a ton of times, the way that people who are very like gun people, like their whole thing is they like guns, they know guns, they shoot guns for a hobby. Those kind of people, the way that they treat people who aren't like as fucking into it as they are is insane. The way that I walked in there, and again, I'm dressed like a normal person this day. I go in there and I'm asking this guy, and everyone's looking at me like I got fucking 6 heads, like I'm fucking a Hydra or some shit. I'm like, the fuck? Okay, I just want to ask you a fucking question. Why are you looking at me like that right now? I got something on my face that says, pick me to pick on. It's like they smell me and they know something's off. I was like, Hey, just making sure you're awake.
All right.
Kids in 1999. I collect Pokemon. Got little white Johnny over there in his little suburb community with the fucking perfectly 2-inch manicured grass lawns, carrying his stupid little fucking Pokemon card. All right. And on the bottom we have kids in 2022. I collect mental disorders. And it's a lesbian. Oh no. We got the lesbian with pink hair. She got a choker on. Put an Antifa badge on her too. Makes her even worse. This lesbian,
classic.
Not only does she not like men,
classic.
She doesn't like Hitler.
I was gonna say alt-right boogeyman, but it's not even alt-right at this point. Just right boogeyman.
Kids in 1999, they had mental disorders. That wasn't that long ago. Acting like 1999 is like the fucking Stone Ages. They had fucking computers back then.
And back in my day, in the 90s.
That there are like very, very few, like sparse people in the world who want to have a mental illness because they want to feel victimized in some way. On top of that, a lot of people who have mental disorders, they already have other marginalized identities. They don't need to be victimized in another way. They're the only people who are like making up stuff to be marginalized about, or people who don't have anything to actually be marginalized about.
Yeah, you know, that's such a classic. I guess minimizing other people's behavior or minimizing other people's issues, traumas, problems. Yeah, they're problems. I'm just saying you're just seeking attention. Like I've never, I don't know. In all my, maybe I'm not super observant, but in all my life I've never come across. I mean, I guess like she's saying, like the only people I've ever come across who pretend to have mental disorders or any sort of disorder for attention are oftentimes non-marginalized people. Like it's oftentimes, well, I won't say. I'll leave that as an exercise for the viewer.
The thing that is favored the most online is negative reactions, big outlandish things, right? You're gonna see a lot of people online who are actually faking stuff, or they're just making up stuff to feel more
online people as well.
The vast majority of people in life don't do that. Most people don't want to have a mental illness or disorder or whatever. Most people don't want to be bipolar or whatever. Most people don't want to have OCD or whatever. These illnesses, these disorders, they're debilitating. You think I want to say that I'm like a 99% sure I have OCD? I don't. I would prefer if that thought never occurred in my head, but it does, along with many other thoughts that I cannot control that well, okay?
Yeah, it really is reversing causality there. Like what in actuality what's happening is that people have these issues and then they give them a name, but a lot of these you're just attention-seeking sorts are genuinely perceiving it as like there's a name with these issues, there's a label with these issues, so people are just choosing that label so that they can act however they please. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm sure people like that exist, but they are, at least in my personal experience, they are few and far between.
I would love if I wasn't, obsessive about the food I eat to the point where if I eat one cracker, I have to have another 2 crackers because the crackers need to be in the order of 3. And I have 3 crackers, and you have 3 crackers in between breakfast and lunch, and then another 3 in between lunch and dinner, so that everything's even. Do you think I want to think like this? And that's a fucking tip of the iceberg. If you get in the bottom depths of my brain, guys, I'm not joking, okay? You get treated worse. Your life is harder. I don't understand why people think that people choose marginalized identities because it's fun. It's not. It's like the farthest thing from fun, and especially in today in America. A poster.
I mean, the answer is usually something like because it keeps life simple. You don't have to change anything if you can write off that sort of thing as just other people misbehaving. The individual responsibility, cope, I guess, to to completely avoid any sort of systemic change. It might be, might make life a little less convenient for you, but a whole lot easier for other people. Now I can't bear to part with, can't bear to suffer even those minor inconveniences, especially for those lesser people who can't control themselves like I can. Oftentimes step by the least in control of themselves people on the planet.
At my school, autism facts. Autism affects 1 in 68 children. Well, that's different now. Now it's apparently 1 in 32. A national crisis. Autism is the fastest growing developmental disability.
Okay, that's not what's happening.
Faster than a forest fire. Autism costs a family $60,000 per year.
Okay, whose fault is that?
I guess if you have
not
a
the
child
autistic
with high
children.
support needs, like an aid or something. I don't understand that. Autism research receives less than 5% of the funding of many less prevalent diseases. Now
I can agree with that. Yeah,
that's interesting to see. You know, why aren't they receiving more research? Right? No one's receiving any research now, but whatever. Boys are nearly 5 times more likely, 1 in 42, than girls have autism.
Now, okay, this is something that I was planning to write a college paper on this, but I ended up not doing because it was partially because it was during the pandemic. It was right when the pandemic was starting back in 2020, and then also it was I ended up kind of I guess botching the research in the sense that I was trying to research way too much stuff, and I was never gonna get it done before the end of the semester, so I just ended up failing that class and having to retake it. But I mean, I could probably go on about that forever, but I'll just say that a lot of the diagnostic criteria for autism. I mean, I've been talking about the online autism crowd, but the official clinical autism crowd, community, whatever, their diagnostic criteria are very, very centered on I guess suburban white people, I guess suburban white boys, I mean, it's not even a boy versus girl issue, it's like white kid versus black kid, poor kid versus I guess not poor kid. That doesn't have to be rich, but definitely, I mean, if you're now, I guess I'm kind of a counterexample for that, because as a young black boy, I actually was considered for autism, but for whatever reason, my mother was not interested in that. I mean, I was like the early 2000s, maybe back then, the writing on the wall was a bit different, but then also that's also partly that a lot of minority family and communities are understandably not very trusting of the medical establishment, given the fucked up shit that doctors and medicine, like as an institution, have done to minorities. It's not surprising that they would be less willing to subject their children to testing for autism. So I mean, that's another thing that makes it skews the autism detection rates for minorities versus non-minorities. But then similarly for girls, who they are a minority, they are a marginalized community, even if they're not literally numerically a minority, they definitely have to deal with a different set of facts than young boys do. They cannot get away with the kinds of things that young boys can get away with. Now, or I should rather say young white boys can get away with. I definitely, part of the reason I was, part of the reason I have my own personal belief that proportion of autism in girls is probably a lot closer to boys, is because I was someone where I, for whatever reason, I guess combination of family circumstances and personality idiosyncrasies, I developed how to phrase it, I guess my presentation of autism is oftentimes there's a lot more. I mean, oftentimes I find myself relating a lot more to the stories of like autistic girls and women in the sense of doing a lot more to mask it, which I'm sure, which comes back to the marginalized versus non-marginalized thing, where if you're a marginalized kid with autism, you don't get as much leeway as a non-marginalized child, and you have to find some way to mask, because they're not gonna because the adults in life are not gonna they're not gonna they're gonna be less forgiving of any bad behavior, I guess. And so basically what I'm saying is, because of the way girls are treated differently from boys, they end up developing basically gender masking, I guess more like gender coping mechanisms to autism that are different from the ones boys develop. And I guess because of the early just this accident of history, the early diagnostic criteria of autism got unduly centered on the coping mechanisms that young boys have to it as a result of their sort of male upbringing, which is different from girls and their woman-centered upbringing.
189. That's probably not true.
Yeah.
Because say it with me, girls have historically been undiagnosed and other autism, right? Girls exhibit autism traits differently than boys, so people were not diagnosing them for a long time, even though there are many autistic women. There is no medical detection or cure for autism. There is medical.
Yeah, there is definitely medical attention, but yes, there is no cure for it. It's basically a developmental disorder. It's like saying there's no cure for like dwarfism, which is like, I mean, yes, that's a kind of a truism. Like you're born that way. Like there's no cure for being born with two hands either. Like, I mean, I guess if you want to amputate them, but amputate one of them. But I mean, that's just how you're born. You treat it. You can treat it, but there's no curing it.
Detection. It's called a diagnosis.
Yes.
No, there is not a cure because it's your brain. I guess the best cure would be a lobotomy. Oh, I better not give them any ideas. They're going to start doing that next week.
Yeah.
All right, the next one. This is a doozy. Well, we all know.
We're waiting any day now for the we prematurely discontinued lobotomies. We really should have kept exploring that avenue of therapeutic treatment.
What's happened? It's the video of Elon Musk doing the Nazi salute.
Oh, my lord.
This Redditor says that this is a Newsweek columnist, apparently. She decides to, quote, retweet the video of him doing this, and she says this. As a person with a strong track record of criticizing Elon Musk, I feel extremely confident asserting that this was not a Nazi salute. Elon Musk is a...
Okay. The as a person with X credentials, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure we all think of situations where it makes sense to say that, but I mean, at least online, the moment I hear someone talking like that, I'm like immediately opinion discarded. Like,
friend to the Why are we still here? This is a man with Asperger's exuberantly throwing his heart to the crowd. We don't need to invent outrage. Now, when this happened, when this happened, the first thing I said to my mom the day after, when she started arguing with me about this, because of course she did, I said to her, if it wasn't a Nazi salute, why don't you do it right now? Go on. Do exactly what he did right now.
Not bad, not bad.
She didn't do it. Did you think I was going to say she did it? No. The other thing about this that was really fun is...
Yeah, because in this day and age, it is not unthinkable that someone would do that. If only just so they can pretend like they haven't lost the argument.
These pro-Israel organizations like the...
Yeah, I knew it. I was considering, because I didn't recognize that name, but I was like, I know that the pro-Israel crowd is very, pro Elon Musk, and I was like, I remember there were some people from that group who were defending Musk, just like that woman did.
Sure, stop anti-Semitism, which doxes and harasses people who say anything, even remotely anti-Israel. They also tweeted something about this, but I vividly remember the ADL. They posted a tweet about this, and I want to look it up exactly because ADL, Elon Musk salute. This is a delicate moment. It's a new day, and yet so many are on edge. Our politics are inflamed, and social media only adds to the anxiety.
Yeah, Elon Musk, social media only adds to anxiety.
Awkward gesture in a moment of enthusiasm.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep, I remember the fucking awkward gesture.
But again, we appreciate that people are on edge. In this moment, all sides should be giving one another a bit of grace, perhaps even the benefit of the doubt. Take a breath. This is a new beginning.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
No benefit of the doubt, only detriment of the belief from here on out.
For healing and work toward unity in the months and years ahead. Well, IDF soldiers, when they shoot innocent Palestinians in the head with a sniper rifle, it's just an awkward gesture.
Yeah, not just innocent Palestinians, innocent Palestinian children.
Oops, I just pulled the trigger. Couldn't see where the sniper rifle was going. Asmongold continues his political reign of terror, saying things that absolutely no human being should ever utter. I'm trying to. Unfortunately, I think I have to watch a video of him to remember what he sounds like. Thankfully,
no,
I maybe watched
don't do that
2
to me.
minutes of this man talk in my life, and I'm gonna try to keep it to 2 minutes. So let's Asmongold. What's he saying?
I'd never hear that man's voice again. It will be too soon.
My dad. Sorry, that's a bit. You know, I hate the guy, but I'm not going to use that one as a. These people are fucking evil. Oh, I wonder what that one's about.
Yeah.
Something insane happened today. I also wonder what that one's about. Okay, let's pick one that's not about politics. Even though he'll probably find a way to say something awful. The disturbing reality of drive-thrus, Asmongold reacts. He probably said something about how fat people eat McDonald's and how he hates fatties. I bet $100 he said that. Uh-oh. What did I fat people. Fucking 6 seconds in the video.
Clocked him.
I wonder why that happens. I wonder why that happened. Okay, that's what he sounds like. Okay. I wonder, society would instantly and dramatically improve if we took the bottom 5-10 most R-worded kids out of the school and put them in the coal mines instead. Almost all Western cultural problems are derived from adherence to the false god of equality. I don't think there's a single thing this man has ever said that has ever been incredibly beneficial to society. It's disturbing to me that so many people watch him because that means there are more people as fucking dumb as him. And that scares me. I will never forget this. I never forget things. Okay? When he said that Palestinians are a lesser race of people while sitting in a room filled with fucking garbage and filth.
That's classic. That's the classic. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a Reddit thread, a Reddit sub called "The Master Race," which is just replete with examples of people like that saying things like that in all manner of situations. People who look like they came out of the fucking not the gene pool, but more like the gene swamp or whatever. Like they do not look. Some of them. I mean, not to use their language, but I hesitate to even perceive as human beings, and yet they're out here talking about other races and peoples.
Police officers. Something that will never come out of my mouth. I don't know what this signs. It's a bunch of likely autistic children.
Oh my God, the puzzles.
This sign.
I see those.
Some message I can't read. And then it's a police car that has the autism written on the side and the autism puzzle blocks everywhere.
Yeah.
I would actually prefer if these replaced all police cars. Then at least I could see them coming. I don't know. This is just hilarious in so many different ways, obviously, because, well, police officers, they like to kill people. And one of those groups of people that they like to kill a lot are people with mental illnesses because they don't know how to handle mental health crises because they're trained to view
Shout out for Zoran Mondani, who will hopefully, now that he is mayor, make, at least just in New York, it will make, I forgot what they call it, but the service workers take care of these sorts of mental health crises, and instead of police officers, that will be
everything as a threat.
That'll be real great for them.
For like a month. then they go out
for
and kill
for
people.
the
So
New
it's incredibly
Yorkers.
ironic that anyone with autism would be thanking a cop. How about I shave your fucking head?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, those are probably kids who are doing this for like a school project. I don't think they probably don't have any what's the word, like self-derived respect or admiration for the police. It's probably just stuff that they're picking up from from the adults in their life.
Head off. How about I shave all your hair off your head? How would you like that? Huh? That's what I'm gonna do to you.
Honestly,
Okay?
honestly, I
Shave your
need a
fucking head
shave.
bald.
It's been a while since I cut this thing.
A little fucking naked cat. That's what you're gonna look like when I'm done with you. Okay? No one's ever gonna like you ever again. You'll be hideous. How'd you like that? Huh? This one, I have something to say about it, not necessarily because of the tweet itself, but because of who tweeted this tweet. So there's some sort of, I don't know, Israeli news thing, I don't know. But it's tweeted in Hebrew, okay? Translated, it says, there is no such thing as autism. It is the avoidance of something, the avoidance of a dynamic social interaction. Galit Distel told Moran Azoulay in a word I can't read about the long journey she went through with her son. I pulled him by the hair.
Yep, classic fucking. Yeah, I've been saying it again and again. This so many neurodivergent people have like only 10% of the issues they have in their life are from the neurodivergence. The other 90% are from their goddamn parents.
Okay, whoa. I actually do have something to say about this. I pulled him by the hair and took him out. I did not let him eat, and I did not let him drink. I did not give him anything. He forced himself to learn to speak in order to survive, and that is completely normal behavior. It's in line.
I mean, it's very common.
The rest of
I mean,
the nation of...
I mean, obviously, usually, I think not to that extent, but definitely in the direction, like in terms of the angle, it is identical. It is endemic.
Israel, right? It's in line with the rest of it, because keep in mind, these are the same people who defend raping people with metal poles. The thing I wanted to say about this really badly when I first saw this is the first thing I just thought to myself is there's this thing that Israeli officials do where on their official accounts, they'll tweet something in English and it will be, you know, Hasbara, it'll be stupid, whatever, right? It's bad, etc., right? But it's more tame in some way because they're trying to, you know, propagandize their English-speaking audience, which their English-speaking audience, you know, the UK and the US are their biggest funders, okay? So that's important that they do that because they need the US on their side. They need the UK on their side, okay? But if you ever do, like, translate Israeli officials' tweets when they're in Hebrew, the shit that they are saying to each other is batshit fucking insane.
Yeah.
There'll be, like, a tweet in Hebrew, right? From this Israeli...
Crazy they don't realize it's not that hard to translate things in this day and age. I mean, especially if you're doing it on social media where they pretty much all have direct translate message options. It's just on the post. But
whoever the fuck, right? You'll click the translate option and they'll be like, well, someone did actually say this one, the war between the children of light and darkness.
Yep.
Okay. And they'll say, like, they'll literally
say,
say,
honestly,
kill every
that was one of the few true things they ever said in classic fashion. It's true, ironically, or I guess it's true if you reverse the role, the what's the word, like the stated roles.
Light and darkness. Okay. And they'll literally just outright say, we need to kill every Palestinian. They'll just say it in Hebrew. So this is not surprising to me. They will say the most whack ass shit because they know the only people who are reading it are mostly Israelis. But this tweet in itself is actually fucking insane. One of my theories is that parents getting tattoos before becoming pregnant have more children that have autism.
I don't even know what to say to this, but I mean, I'm tempted to call this rage bait. Like, it doesn't even. People are way too comfortable posting shit online. I mean, that's been an evergreen quote online, but it just becomes more and more true with each passing nanosecond.
Autism. Well, neither of my parents have tattoos. Well, would you look at me? Every day I'm on Instagram, posting about Leon Kennedy. Actually, in fact, when I finish this video, I'm going to take my phone out of the tripod it's in right now, and I'm going to watch the dozen edits of Leon Kennedy that I have saved on my phone at least one time with my headphones on to maximize the listening experience. And I'm going to giggle and hee-hee and kick my feet, and then I'm going to do that same exact thing before I go to bed tonight. And then I'm going to do that same exact thing tomorrow morning. And then I'm going to do it midday tomorrow. I'm going to do it before I go to bed tomorrow night too. I've watched some of these edits at least 40 times. Bring back bullying is said by bullies, not people who were bullied. I would personally agree with that. This person says, nah, I was bullied and I'm a functioning human now. Kids these days need to stop being coddled and learn some shame. And
classic things said by a non-functioning human.
In this person who posted this, their bio, what is this? What are they, Native American too? Okay, pro-Palestine. Okay, you already got two things that are gonna get you bullied. In their bio, what is this? He. You want to bring back bullying? Also, just looking at this person,
right? Like
I'm
you're
not
gonna
being
get
ashamed,
bullied.
I'm genuinely just pointing this out. You look like someone who would get bullied. You're a fully functioning human right now? I don't think you are. Clearly, the bullying, the conditioning to normalcy did not work for you because you don't look like an average person. You look alternative. I don't think it worked that well for you. This one, the next one I saved, I posted this on my Instagram story a few weeks ago. You might have seen it if you follow me on Instagram. I would say tell you to go follow my Instagram. I would prefer if you go become a Patreon though. On my Patreon, because there you actually give me money. I make no money from Instagram.
You're right.
Because I'm an influencer shelling you things, so there's no money for me in that. Anyway, I posted this on my Instagram story a while ago because I saw it and I thought it was really funny, and I was like, that's me. So it's this meme, right? Me thinking it's normal to listen to the same song 272 times. Autism in the back, right? Very funny, right? Because I listened to The Devil and I by Slipknot.
I mean, bro, I had a Code Geass a soundtrack from Code Geass. I listened to 1,000 times. Now, to be fair, it was like a minute and a half. So that's not as much time as you might think compared to a normal vocal song. But I mean, that's something I've done many times. But I mean, I think that's something a lot of people have done, especially nowadays where we have access to all of our favorite songs at the press of a button. A lot of people just use that shit as like ambient noise while they're doing homework or like driving or something. It's not. I mean, you're gonna need to be a little more specific before you start calling. Before you start calling what was really just normal human behavior, autistic signs.
I think almost 300 times last year. I think I've listened to it almost 300 times this year.
Actually, maybe
if you guys
I do have my
really popular in
iTunes.
2019. There's a song Roses. There was a remix of it that came out. It was really popular. And
I can actually look at some of my most listened to songs right now. It plays. Yep, right here. I mean, yeah, this is what I'm a big fan of. One of Evangelion's pieces. I mean, I've listened to that. I listened to that almost 6,500 times. Got another one from the Monogatari series. Listened to that one like 4,000 times. I mean, that's signs of autism. Then I am super autistic. I am the super autist.
I vividly remember one night I was sitting on the floor of my room playing on my PlayStation because video games are one of my special interests, and I'm playing my PlayStation. I listened to that song on repeat for a half hour. I swear to God, I'm not
just a half hour.
This is such a very specific song. There's no way I'm making.
I don't mean to be accusing you of stolen valor, but I mean just a half hour.
I listened to that song for a half hour because I loved the way that song sounded. The Devil and I by
Slipknot. I guess that's a little different. I mean, whereas there's the difference between listening to it while doing something else for several hours or just listening to it, because normally I don't just listen to a piece of music unless I'm like going to sleep to it. But
It's genuinely not a joke. I listen to that song at least once a day. At least once a day. I have not lived my day unless I have played that song at least once. When I was first listening to all of Slipknot's discography, when I got to their song All Hope Is Gone on the album, All Hope Is Gone, I like that song so much. I listened to that song 15 times in a row. You know who doesn't do that?
No one.
Anybody else I know.
Well, I mean, if you really like, man, I think if you listen to enough music, you're gonna find something that you really, really like, and you're gonna listen to it a lot, right? Right? Is that? I mean, yeah, maybe I'm showing off my hermit ignorance. I don't know what's normal for listening to music or something.
Because none of them have autism. Someone quote retweets us and has to open their mouth. It's normal. Stop with this shit. So, you do that too? You listen to the same song that many times. Let's say in a month, you listen to the same song 300 times. I don't think people understand how much you have to play a song, especially a 6.5 minute song.
Okay, yeah, 6.5 minutes is crazy.
Of insane special interest. And also, people don't understand this about autism. You can have audio stims. You can listen to something over and over again because you like the way it sounds. I didn't know this before, but I guess when I repeat phrases that people say in certain accents over and over again, that's actually not something most people do. And if you're going to comment...
that was... I remember reading about that years ago. I think it's called echolali or something like that. I remember reading about that years ago, not recognizing it myself, but I do actually repeat several game lines from voice lines from some games or whatever, or oftentimes if I hear someone say something in a particularly interesting way, I will kind of repeat it in my head, but I don't normally say it out loud or anything. But I guess that's more my an example of how I mask stuff. No one would know if I'm repeating a line someone just said because they said it in a very interesting cadence or whatever.
Like this person, it's normal. Actually, I do that too. So you say, yeah, baby, 20 times a day.
Yeah, usually it's not 20 times a day. It's more just in the sense that over a long period of time that line or quote keeps coming back up in this not necessarily random situations, but just any situation that would call for it. My mind just immediately goes right back to it, like it has a direct lookup table or something.
I feel bad for you. Maybe you should see a psychologist. The most relevant replies: stop acting like every little quirk is a sign you have mental illness. Stop romanticizing mental illness. Autism isn't a mental illness. By the way, this is not romanticizing.
Yeah, that is something that way too many people do not understand. There is a difference between neurodevelopmental disorders like ADHD and autism, and then mental disorders. You're not born with a mental disorder; you develop those. Whereas you're born with neurodevelopmental issues. They're really just physical conditions that happen to affect your brain. And because of that, they happen to affect your behavior and psyche and whatnot. But they are not, in and of themselves, mental disorders. I mean, they might give rise to them, especially given how comorbid shitty parenting is to developmental disorder.
This is joking about something you experience. It's not romanticization. Romanticization is taking something that's objectively terrible and making it seem like it's all fun and go lucky. If you have something that affects you, and you want to joke about it, and it affects you, and you're joking about something that affects you, that's not romanticizing, that's having a fun time. So, I don't have a mental illness? Well, check with your doctor, but most likely, no. And that's a good thing. Something to be thankful for if you have a mental disorder. Yeah, and I agree with you. Who are you to diagnose this random person who posted a meme? That's all they did was post a meme. And you're like, they don't have autism, blah, 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 stop saying this, it's normal, right? Well, if you have that trait and just that, sure, maybe you don't have autism. If you do that and a ton of other things that all link to the same thing, maybe there's a pattern there. I think we all need to chill a little bit. Well, that's it for me, and that's it for this video. Comment down below anything you thought about this video. What'd you have to say? Do you have a personal opinion on my own personal life? Please feel free to share it down below. And if it's aggressive, I mean double points for you. I'd like to give a special shout out to my Patreon members who are part of my Alpha and Delta tiers. Thank you so much to Dallas Andrade, Lisbeth Ruiz, and Emberly McCooley. I really appreciate your continued support. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. If you want to become a patron, the link will be down below. By the time you're seeing this video, I should have uploaded a video where I discuss all of my favorite video games of all time. There's a series I'm doing where I'm discussing my favorite media. I uploaded last month my favorite albums of all time. It's basically just me nerding out about things I really, really love. And well, if you've gotten anything out of this video, you should know that I love to talk about things that I really, really love. So if you want to check that out, the link will be in the description. All the benefits of the tiers are available. If you click the link on my Patreon, you can check them all out. Really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like me, you can subscribe. I post videos about whatever I feel like talking about. So if that sounds like your thing, make sure to subscribe and turn notification bell so you know when I post a video.
That video.
Thank you also
this
for
video.
watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. More importantly, I really hope I see you in the next video. You'll be there, right?
Right. Okay. Yep. Not gonna let the video end on this still. I feel like that'd be a little uncomfortable for our viewers. All right, there we go. Okay, yeah, very interesting video. I'd probably the one I had the most to say on since I started this little journey of mine, working through my watch later list. Now, I was expecting to be a little more focused on neurotypicals, whereas it seemed to be mostly about neurotypicals dunking on neuroatypicals and then critiquing that. But yeah, I mean, I think probably the best example of what I was expecting was that one where that person was kind of advocating for bringing back bullying, that classic nonsense. I mean, that seems like very unhealthy, very not okay behavior. I was definitely expecting to see more of that. But what we got was pretty good. I'm not a lot more politics than I was expecting, but I mean, anybody who watches my reviews on Chaos Squared when we review 100 Girlfriends knows I'm no stranger to politics, and I'm not bothered by it. So, like I was saying, great video, definitely a cool channel. Okay, now I was planning to have, at least 2 reacts. But that means it's already 11:30, and maybe Aztec Human Suffering will I'll get through it real quickly. But I would prefer to try, you make it more transformative. Try to have more to say, even if it's kind of a toss up whether I have anything to say for these reacts or not. So because of that, I will be ending it a little early. I mean, I guess. It's not really a little, because nowadays, like the past, I think just this week I was ending them around this time. I mean, this might be the earliest one I've done so far, but I've been ending them earlier and earlier as I have more to say, I guess. Yeah, yep. Yeah. Thanks for watching. If you did, consider liking and commenting and subscribing. I'll be here, tomorrow. I'll be here with some writing. So, if you're interested in that, maybe stop by. Otherwise, take care, and I'll see you when I see you.
So, this is xylene.